All right, we got Michigan's keys. Three key things for Michigan. One, win the first half, which sounds stupid, but when I give you why, it'll make a lot more sense. Two, cut the miscues. Three, sideline Penix. No, I do not mean hurt Michael Penix. I mean keep him on the sideline by you possessing the ball and winning the turnover battle. So win the first half. So I have the most important games, I believe, from Washington's schedule all year and the first halves from these games. So let's listen to this because Washington has been a strike fast, strike first team all year. They've scored first in 11 of their 14 games. So all 22 of its points in its win versus Oregon State was scored in the first half. 21 of its 31 points were scored in the first half against Arizona, who turned out to be a really dead good football team. 24 of its 35 points against Utah were scored in the first half. 22 of its 36 were scored in the first half against Oregon in the first game. 20 of its 34 was scored in the first half of the Pac-12 title game, the second time against Oregon, and 21 of its 37 was scored in the first half against Texas, and 14 of those were scored before 18 minutes had even gone off the clock. So I'm telling you, they strike fast. They play their best football as soon as the ball snapped. So you don't want if you can throw them off their rhythm by winning the first half, even like that mid part of the first quarter and second quarter, you have a great shot at winning this game. That's why I'm saying win the first half. You got to throw them off rhythm early because this team comes out hot. They play their best football, and that's some of their games they've gone up, and then the other teams have come back. I mean, 10 games of 10 points or less winning those 10 games is crazy. And then you have 527 points scored this season for Washington. So 333 of that 527 have been scored in the first half. So by my math, that's 63% of their scores coming in the first half. And of that 333 scored in the first half, 58% of their first half scoring comes in the second quarter, which is usually when they create that separation period going into half where it's kind of like Washington's going to win this game. And then those games have come back and ended up close, but they've just kind of hung on. But that's what good teams do. That's how they've gotten here. But that's why I'm saying you need to win this. So stay alive in the first half. Come out foaming out of the mouth like you did against Alabama. I mean, you came out of Alabama like your butt just came out of a microwave. You were boom, like a piece of popcorn just exploding through that line. I mean, you can't go down two scores by them starting off hot, like I've said with Washington to go up two scores because your style of offense doesn't keep you in a game like that. The main key, especially for you taking over in the second half, is to slow them down right out the gate. Don't let them get hot because that's how they've basically been all year. They've just been able to come out and pop. And you can't let the fireworks go off. You have to put water on the fuse. You got to put water on the fuse, Harbaugh. Get that defense rolling. And in the second half, if you slow them down early, I'm not saying like keep them scoreless. I'm just saying don't let them put up like 20 point. They're literally putting up like 20 points every first half in almost like all the games they play. 20 or more, sometimes even 30. So you got to be careful with that. And your physicality, I keep them in the teens. And I think your physicality in the second half will weigh on them. I know I'm rambling here, but I think that the best key is to stop them with that. And then outside the hashes, one more thing, be physical with Polk and O'Dunes. Your corners, just keep them outside, make them uncomfortable, get up on them, I'm not saying like commit penalties, but not like hitting them or anything. But I mean, like be physical with them up front at the line, press on them, hit them, give them a good hit, give them good hand play. That's a pause, but don't let them get comfortable because they will light you up if you do. So two, cut the miscues. This one's really short. So this stems from the Rose Bowl. If you show up with those mistakes from the Rose Bowl on special teams, Washington or even McCarthy's pick that ended up not being a pick because it seemed like they came out maybe rattled with that play. If you have those special teams mistakes, this isn't the Alabama offense that can only throw deep balls and then figure out something with Milrow to run. This offense will run you out of NRG. I mean, you can't have those mistakes. So this also means you obviously got to win the turnover battle. Like I said, you don't want Washington to double you up. But I think you can win the turnover battle. I actually don't think you're going to commit a turnover in this game. For all the hate, I say that I have it right here, a clean game from JJ McCarthy. He is what keeps the well-oiled machine going. But for all the hate JJ gets, he's literally the whole reason the machine that is Michigan works. I mean, you can call him a game manager or whatever you want to, but he's just like stoic behind the line. He doesn't get rattled. He did have that pick like early in that first thing, which may have helped him in that game, having the mistake that ended up not being a mistake and already getting the mistake out by not having a mistake. That was a mouthful. But I think uh he in this game will be able to stay hard nosed, composed. He lets that Michigan offense stay composed and comfortable. Like that fourth down play, that crazy drive at the end. He keeps that machine moving with his leadership. It's a silent leadership, kind of, but maybe not in the locker room. But on the field, I mean, he just stays composed. He's locked in. For all the hate JJ gets, like I said, he may not be the most fancy or pretty quarterback, but if it wasn't for him, that Michigan offense does not work like it does. He is the distributor and he is the heartbeat of that offense. So JJ, I don't think you're going to make it or commit a turnover, but that is obviously a key because I can't just force it not to happen. And then finally, sideline Penix. The offensive line, you got to open it up for Corum this game, kind of like you did last game. Corum had 118 scrimmage yards against Bama and 2 touchdowns. And also, I want JJ to run a little bit in this game. He gets very important yardage because it's not like he's a crazy runner, but he's got 171 yards and 3 touchdowns on the year. But I think you can really utilize JJ, especially in this game against a weaker run defense, with incredible misdirection, especially when you've been feeding Corum where they're just like, all right, we got a key, we got a key, we got a key. Boop, there goes JJ. There's 12 yards. Or it's like a 4th and 3 or 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. Do that with him. And I know it's easier said than done, but you can't let the game get away from you. Like I said, let Corum cook. You got to open up the run game early. You got to run that dang ball, establish it, and then open up your play action. Boom, hit him over the top. Pretty simple for Michigan offensively. I mean, you just got to keep the rhythm rolling. You got to keep the rhythm rolling. And then obviously bleeding the clock, you want to run over all Washington. I think you will be able to run all over Washington for a fact. I think Corum has a crazy day. I think he'll probably go off. But I want to put this out there. Even if you're able to hold Washington on defense, I'm not stopping, like saying stop them completely. Like when you bleed clock and you're going to play this style of offense that you do not settle for field goals. You need 7. Obviously, you always want to score a touchdown. You're like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But in this game, I mean by if you're at like your or Washington's 39 and it's 4th and 3 and it's the first quarter with 8 minutes left, go for it. I want to see you go for it. Do not settle for field goals against an offense that can just have a 70-yard completion, then a 30-yard completion and score. Like they'll score just like that. So go for it. I want you to be risky in some of these situations because I think it will pay off for you, Michigan.